When I grow up, I want to be a modern architect.
When I grow up, I want to be a programmer.
When I grow up, I want to be a basketball player.
When I grow up, I want to be a businessman.
I want to be an architect.
I want to be a doctor.
When I grow up, I want to be a chef.
From all over Pennsylvania, the rural, the suburban, and the urban regions, school children aspire to great futures. It all begins with an investment in quality education, but Pennsylvania is ranked one of the worst states in the country when it comes to school funding. First, there is a systematic racial bias in the way that state funding is divided up between the 500 Pennsylvania school districts each year. Secondly, the proportion of total school funding that comes from state revenue is one of the smallest in the nation. This means that many underfunded school districts must depend on raising local tax revenue to fill the gap. That drives school districts that have the lowest property wealth to have the highest rates of local tax. Power Interfaith continues to demand that Pennsylvania eliminate all racial disparity in the allocation of state tax dollars to school districts. We demand the full implementation of Pennsylvania's 7-year-old fair funding formula. Right now, we fully support the substantial proposed school funding increases and changes that Governor Wolf has sent to the PA General Assembly in his state budget proposal for our next fiscal year. During this Pennsylvania budget negotiation season, February through June 2022, Power Interfaith asks all legislators to fully support Governor Wolf's 2022 state budget proposal. It is a big step in the right direction. We ask all our members and supporters to call your legislators now to demand the same. Call your legislators. Tell them to fully support the governor's 2022 education budget. Also tell them to grant substantial funds to cure toxic school buildings and unsafe old school infrastructure. Call legislators until they say yes.
Swank said we had power behind us from the power organizations right here. Bishop Dwayne Royster, come on.
Yes.
Stand back, everybody. Thank you, Senator Hughes, for extending the invitation for us to come and stand with you and Representative Bradford and the governor in terms of what we're asking for in terms of basic education funding and level up funding on this year. When I was coming up, I originally planned on standing here for about 30 seconds in silence, perhaps confusing some people, making them think that I didn't know what I was going to say or that I didn't know what I was doing when I came up here. But I was going to come up here and stand silent for 30 seconds because that is the sound of what happens and what will happen to Pennsylvania if we do not adequately and equitably fund schools across the state of the Commonwealth. Silence will happen in the state of Pennsylvania. Silence on the farms in our rural areas because we have not adequately taught our children how to become agricultural leaders in this country. Silence in some of our suburban communities where there is not adequate funding because we have failed to give them all the tools that they need to be able to be the best citizens for our Commonwealth, that they could be. Silence in our cities that will become void because we have not given the resources into the school districts of our urban areas that are necessary to produce the future technologists, to produce the future doctors and the lawyers and the teachers, the principals, the Nobel Peace Prize winners that we need. Silence will ensue across the state of Pennsylvania.
That's right.
We are in a moment where we need a vision.
In the past, legislators said, we don't have the money to fully fund our school system. Well, there are no more excuses. We have the money. We have the funds to implement the governor's school budget proposal and to fix the worst unsafe school building problems. Our state rainy day fund is already very healthy. We don't need funds to go there now. Our state revenue is well above projected levels. Now is the time to act. The state budget negotiations are happening now. Call your PA state senator and representative. Demand that they support the governor's 2022 budget proposal and allocate at least $800 million in ARP money to fix the poorest schools, unsafe buildings, and infrastructure problems. Contact powerinterfaith.org or contact pafairfunding.org.
I would add to more books, better books.
With the money, I would invest in tutoring program too for children that is struggling with the math and reading.
I would love it to be given to supplies for the school. They're kind of reliant on the parents to do that, and so that's an extra pressure.
Well, I would want to have an aftercare for Powell.
I would let like the kindergarten, first, second, and third graders get like educational trips.
If my school had more money, I would get helpers for the teachers. Definitely, because we would be able to reach more students that way, do more small groups, really get to the students individually.